Putting blood on a brand new Beamer. Trying to earn 8 stripes like Adidas. You get cold when you ride with the heater. It'll turn you to a dog like a Keto. And expose to a cat like a cheetah. They smoke my partner like reefer. Dímelo porque o no entiendo mi gente must really need Jesus.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, well, is that not the truth or what? It doesn't matter who the host is. It's kind of funny because I started off laughing right away because I did not realize, because I sit here in the dark so frequently, that the lights weren't even on, so that's even funnier. Anyways, it is No, it is not Wednesday. How the hell is this thing still saying the wrong date? Aren't we already on Thursday? What the hell's going on over here? Yeah, I was going to say it's Wednesday. I think you're going to shoot me if I tell you that. Anyways, it's Thursday, June the 24th of 2021, day 175 of the year, and only 190 days left to go before it is all over with. I'm not sure what exactly is going to be over, but whatever that thing is that you think that's going to be over is probably what's going to be over. So look at it that way. That's for sure. So anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in that place known as Orlando, Florida, and we're coming across the multiverse of Safety FM. Anyways, if you're not familiar with the show, it kind of goes this way. We do the things that we do, and then we kind of hang out with some professional broadcasters. I kind of go through some lingo of things, I think it's how it goes. And then we kind of go back and forth, you and I, having discussions of things that you might be interested in. I give some jargon and all that kind of fun stuff. We're first a radio station, followed by a streaming service, or is it followed by a podcast service? Anyway, so we do a whole bunch of weird shit, is really what it boils down to. But we also hang out with our buddies and our friends at our sister station that sound something like this. Maybe, sometimes. Some way, some shape, somehow. Well, when they decide to play, we hang out with them. And when they don't, so then we don't. Lovely day. Sounds like it's going to be a lovely one today. I guess it doesn't like that trigger this morning. Love. Let's try to reload it and see what happens. If not, we're going to have a sound-free show this morning, which will be even funnier when it's all said and done. Seriously, it will be funnier. Oh, I see the problem. I see the problem.
Radio Big.
Oh, this is why I love live radio. Because you just don't know where you're going to fuck things up and right away, which is the fun part. Let's do that again.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Yeah, you put it on the wrong card, it just doesn't tend to work anyway, so that's what's going on. Fun. Anyways, it is already 3 minutes, and we've already screwed up more than twice, so there you go. I always love it. So anyways, let's talk about what is going on according to the trends. So I don't know if you've seen this one. This was kind of being popular yesterday about a TikTok user from California that wanted to see her dog's new Zap collar felt like, so she put it on her neck. She started on the low setting, which was roughly about 30, and said, oh, this is weak, and then she raised it up all the way to 99, and then gave herself a nice little shock. Due to copyright issues, because this is what we talk about, I will not be able to show you the video on the streaming service, but I can play the sound, which is the fun part. So you're going to have to use, let's see, what we call theater of the mind for this to work here. So let's go through it. And of course, just like any good stuff that you would ever want to listen to, they're going to run us an ad before we actually even get the video to play. Because that's how websites are now. Everything's ads. So take a listen to what the lady had to say.
So I got this shock collar for my dog. I asked you guys not to try this. It's not something that you guys should be doing at all. At all. See how it works, so I'm going to try it on myself, but do not attempt. Do not. I'm about to put it on. Hold on. It's on level 3. Let's see what that does. Weak. It's on level 30 now. Weak. So honestly, this thing is kind of weak. I'm not gonna lie. So I cranked it all the way up to level 99. So I'm gonna see if that really does anything. So I'm gonna just go ahead and try to get. Oh! Oh!
So needless to say, the shot collar didn't go too well. The shot collar didn't go too well for her as she decided to give it a test. So at the 99 point, she did knock herself out is what it sounds like. But if you take a look at the video, it sounds a little riggy. Sounds a little riggy for my liking. But hey, you know, when you're trying to create those viral moments for yourself, it's definitely one of those things that I guess you'll go out of your way in doing. By the way, thanks for the nice comment. One of the best shows of Radio Big yesterday. So I'm not sure if you're talking about this show being on Radio Big or if you're talking about our homage to Glenn Danzig yesterday, with it being his birthday. But thank you either way on how you're doing it. Thank you for Mr. Consultant. Damn, it's nice to see you back inside of the screen. It's been a long time. Hopefully you've been able to work out whatever kinks you had going on, because it's always fun to take a look at. Anyway, so we are here, you are there, and I think that we need to do with the things that we do with Feature Story News. Hopefully it's not another sex story thing, you know, because of not enough sex exploration, as they were telling us about yesterday. But let's go into our friends at Feature Story News right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Hong Kong pro-democracy newspaper Apple Daily has published its final edition after 26 years. Thousands of people headed out to buy a copy after it announced it would shut down in the face of a clampdown by local officials under a controversial national security law. Britney Spears has demanded an end to the controversial conservatorship which governs much of her business and personal affairs. Speaking by phone to an LA court, she accused her father and management team of exploiting her, as Ira Spitzer reports from San Francisco.
Britney Spears has testified publicly for the first time about her guardianship. It was set up in 2008 after the pop star was hospitalized following erratic public behavior. During the 23-minute testimony, Spears called the conservatorship abusive and said she wants her life back. She accused her management team of exploiting her and forcing her to work against her will. And she said she feels enslaved by her father. But representatives for her father and the conservatorship have argued it is necessary to protect Spears. Her court-appointed lawyer told the court that the 39-year-old pop star hasn't yet officially requested an end to the arrangement, although Spears said she wanted to do so without being evaluated. Ira Spitzer, San Francisco.
The head of India's top genome sequencing lab says the highly transmissible Delta Plus variant may not cause a third wave. The country reported close to 54,000 new infections on Thursday, raising hopes the second wave may be coming to an end, as Ishan Garg reports.
The director of the Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology, Dr. Anurag Agrawal, says the worry should rather be the continuation of the second wave. The new Delta Plus may be more contagious and could lead to more severe infections, but Dr. Agrawal believes it's not a threat since it hasn't spread widely yet. But experts say it may only be a matter of time. They're concerned that there may be a silent outbreak underway already, which could get worse as most states lift restrictions on movement. Some models are already suggesting that India could see as many as 300,000 cases a day by October. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
New data suggests over 2 million people in England may have suffered from long COVID. Researchers found more than a third of those in their study who had coronavirus reported symptoms lasting at least 12 weeks. They include things like fatigue and muscle aches. Lee Kennedy from North Shields contracted the virus early last year and still has symptoms now.
I've been in and out of hospital for the last sort of 15 months. I'm currently under 4 different consultants. I'm still suffering with lung inflammation. I'm currently under cardiac care because I have heart palpitations that are still happening.
Follow us on Twitter at Feature Story. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. America's crisis-hit southern border with Mexico is about to become busier than normal after former President Donald Trump said he'll pay a visit there next week, and the White House announced that Vice President Kamala Harris now plans to beat him to it. She'll be there this Friday after weeks of criticism from Republicans who have wondered how she can possibly spearhead the Biden administration's response to a growing migrant crisis without visiting the scene of that crisis. At the White House on Wednesday, Press Secretary Jen Psaki.
The President asked the Vice President to oversee our diplomatic efforts to address the root causes of migration. She recently traveled to Guatemala and Mexico last month to have those discussions. And this trip to the border on Friday will be a part of this effort.
She said the Vice President had always planned to visit the border when the timing was right. But Republicans believe the timing has been influenced by a desire not to cede headlines to former President Donald Trump. And Senator Ted Cruz of Texas suggested the Vice President isn't even planning to hit the worst-hit areas of the region.
You need to go to the Donna Tent Facility, which is the tent city your administration has built that is massively over capacity, that has kids in cages.
Republicans like Senator Cruz believe the situation on the border plays in their favor ahead of next year's midterm congressional elections. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Hong Kong pro-democracy newspaper Apple Daily's published its final edition after 26 years. Britney Spears has demanded an end to the controversial conservatorship which governs her business and personal affairs. The head of India's top genome sequencing lab says the Delta Plus variant may not cause a third wave, and new data suggests over 2 million people in England may have suffered from long COVID. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
You know how sometimes you're out and about and sometimes you have to access a report, maybe your bank account, maybe something that's important to you, but you don't want other people to be able to access it? I know you're probably sitting there for a moment going, well, why don't you just go into incognito mode and use that instead? Well, let me tell you something real quick. Incognito mode does not hide your activity. It doesn't matter what mode you use or how many times you clear your browser's history. Your internet service provider can still see every single website you visited. And that's why even when I'm at home, I never go online without using ExpressVPN. It doesn't matter who your internet provider is. It can be Verizon, Comcast, or even AT&T. The ISP in the U.S. can legally sell your information to ad companies. ExpressVPN is an app that reroutes your internet connection through their secure servers so your ISP can't see the sites that you visit. ExpressVPN also keeps all of your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. Most of the times, I don't even realize I have ExpressVPN on. It runs seamlessly in the background and is so easy to use. All you have to do is tap one button and you're protected. ExpressVPN is available on all of your devices, phones, computers, even your smart TV. So there's no excuse for you not to be using it. Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by CNET and Wired. Visit my exclusive link at expressvpn.com/safety and you can get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/safety. expressvpn.com/safety to learn more.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves. Only on Safety FM.
Okay, so I'm kind of confused on your message in the box there. So here, let's kind of go through this. Delta Plus, come on, man. You want the Delta Plus to come on, man. I'm not sure what that means. And then vaccinate India. Stat. This is why I'm not a big believer in early morning drinking. Don't understand half the shit that's going on. Anyways, it is 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out real quick. So let's start talking about the things that are going on according to the hit list. So let's go through it real quick. New York City administers its first 1 millionth COVID-19 dose on Wednesday. The dose was given to Coney Island Hospital to a 12-year-old daughter of a hospital employee. Mayor Bill de Blasio, on the other hand, was there for the big milestone. So there you go. Also, the state offers in-home vaccination for those who do not wish or are unable to go to a vaccination site. So hold on. Is this like an on-demand service? I want to get the injection of, getting it there at home. Hasn't New York already had, for a long period of time, drug delivery services to their household, legal or illegal?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, Microsoft has become just the second U.S. company to reach the valuation of $2 trillion. The company passed a valuation of $1 trillion just over 2 years ago and was giving a hefty boost over the past year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Apple was the first to hit the milestone back in 2019 and now boasts about $2.2 trillion. I would have never thought Microsoft would have been the actual company to be the next one to hit it. I mean, do still a lot of people use Windows? I mean, seriously. I hear more complaints about Windows, but I guess I'm kind of jaded because I'm a big Apple guy. But there you go. What the hell do I know? Anyways, let's continue talking. A woman gave birth at a Miami International Airport on Sunday morning. The mom, who had arrived from a flight in Chicago, was heading to Honduras and was forced to take a slight detour after her water broke. The unidentified mom named her newborn daughter Mia after the airport. Really? Why didn't you just go full bore and say, hey, Miami? Let's just call her Miami. Make it a little bit more click. Right there. So anyways, officials intercepted more than 100 illegal shipments of COVID-19 treatment drug Remdesivir. Hold on. Remdesivir bound for Mexico. Custom and Border Protection seized the shipment at a Texas border and were reportedly flown in from India and Bangladesh. The shipment will be added to the Department of Homeland Security ongoing efforts to crack down on counterfeit COVID products such as face masks, gloves, and fake vaccination cards. Hold on. A fake vaccination card? A lot of people... Should I say this? Okay. No, seriously, should I say this? Yeah. So a lot of people have said how easy it is to replicate those vaccination cards. And that there is actually a website on most of them where you can kind of essentially print out the card, even though it doesn't have your dates on there. I don't know if I should have said that, but I did. Too late.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, a CDC advisor panel suggests there is likely a link between COVID-19 vaccines to the report of heart inflammation in younger age groups. Well, I would hope so, because we talked about this yesterday. The data was presented during the meeting on Wednesday, with the group noting that the Microcandits most often appeared after a second dose of the vaccine. The side effects, which presents itself in chest pain followed by difficulty breathing, has been observed by teenagers, with more males being affected than females. Regardless, the panel still believes the benefits of the shot clearly outweigh the risk. So what do you think here? When you start taking a look at this and you start talking about this, do you go, hey, it is worth giving the shot to my child, knowing that this is a potential side effect? Now, don't get me wrong. We know that there's all kinds of medicines that have side effects all the time. So when you hear this, what do you think? What comes to mind right away? And do you think it's worth the risk? Of course, the opinion is in the eye of the beholder. If you're the parent of whoever you're the parent of, the parent, you would have to make that decision if it's something that you'd be interested in doing. So would you give your child a shot, not you personally, or have it at least done if you know there is a risk associated to it? So it is something to think about, that's for sure. Can't leave it at that. But what are the things that come to mind when you start hearing about this? So think about that, and let's get into Johnny Smalls. Well, let's not get into Johnny Smalls because that just sounds weird. But let's have Johnny Smalls come in and tell us about what's going on with the stocks.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Thursday, June 24th, 2021. Equity markets are hovering near all-time highs and look like they want to move higher. While the market wants to believe the FOMC when it says inflation spikes are temporary, it also looks like the market is waiting for the proof. That proof may come this week on Friday with the release of the PCE price index, the FOMC's preferred gauge of core consumer level inflation. The PCE index is expected to show a strong gain from the previous month, but at a slower rate than before. A hotter than expected number could spook the market. Thursday's trading will be impacted by the weekly jobless claims figure, durable goods orders, a revision to the first quarter GDP figures, and commentary from several Fed members. The GDP data is expected to be unrevised, while jobless claims are expected to fall to a new post-pandemic low. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thanks, John Smalls, for that one. If you're liking what John Smalls has to say, he actually hosts a show on RadioBig.fm with his wife, Heidi. It's called The John and Heidi Show. Would strongly recommend taking a listen to it. It does happen in the 2 o'clock Eastern time hour to 6 p.m. So 2 to 6, if you want to come out, hang out with them. They play all kinds of music. Good music, I might add. And then they also jump in and talk about whatever the hell they got going on. Do some interviews with celebrities, yes. They are the celebrity style side of the show. They do pick up some celebs and do all that kind of fun stuff. So if you haven't taken a listen to it, I'd recommend doing that strongly. You can go to radiobig.fm for more of that. Anyway, so let me give you what we found on our end. The stock market finished relatively flat on Wednesday after a high volatility in other recent sessions, and the Nasdaq notched about 18-point gain, while the Dow fell about 71 points and the S&P lost about 4 points. Investors are examining how long the higher inflation will last. The Federal Reserve has acknowledged that the consumer goods are becoming more expensive, but maintains that the overall increase is driven by a couple of product categories and will be a transitory situation. So there you go. What are you thinking there as you're taking a look at this? So, we talk about all the time that you can't plan for everything. We can talk about a little bit of everything, but we never know when it's going to happen. You can have some ideas, but let's get into some of this. At least 6 people were hurt when a pedestrian bridge crashed down on a freeway in D.C. yesterday. The collapse trapped several vehicles under the rubble, including a truck, and that was leaking fuel. 4 people were taken into the hospital, and 2 others were treated at the scene, according to the emergency personnel. Authorities will look into the cause of the collapse. Well, I would hope so. But you see, we talk about expect the unexpected, and that will definitely be the gimmick for sure. Anyways, let's continue talking. The strawberry moon will be on display today. According to NASA, the marginal supermoon will appear opposite to the sun in the Earth base longitude at 2:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for much of the Earth. It won't be visible until it appears above the horizon. The agency noted that the moon is smaller in size and the brightness than the series of previous supermoons. from the earlier this year. Well, for all those that want to know, Krispy Kreme will be selling the strawberry supermoon donut today. So if you have the chance to going by the crisper, feel free on doing so. Anyways, that's what's going on that side. Anyways, giant panda Shinshin has given birth to twin cubs in Ueno Zoo in Japan. The birth is the first panda birth in the zoo in over 4 years. The Tokyo Zoo website lists the two newborn pandas as being born an hour and a half apart at 1:03 a.m. and at 2:32 on Wednesday. And that's a.m. as well. Their gender was not determined. Hold on. How did that happen? And they are not yet named. So there you go. Wonder if that would be something that will be sold. No, seriously. I'm just asking the question. Anyways, a group of atheists filed a lawsuit to remove the phrase "In God We Trust" from the Mississippi license plate. The state violating residents' freedom by forcing them to display religious phrases or pay extra for specialized plates, the lawsuit claims. Attorneys for the American Atheist, Jeffrey Blackwell, says the message is rooted in hostility against non-Christians, non-believers, and should not be forced upon people. He has also called the message an abuse of power and unconstitutional. Car owners have the option of buying specialized plates for $32. So what's the average plate cost? No, I mean, seriously, does the average plate cost? I would really like to know that. Anyways, before we get into this other section here, it is 25 minutes past the top of the hour, but let's talk about this real quick. Don't know if you heard this, dude. Antivirus software tycoon John McAfee has died. Authorities told Spanish newspaper El País that McAfee hung himself in his jail cell yesterday, just hours after the court ruled that he would be extradited and to face federal charges in the U.S. after being arrested in October for tax evasion. McAfee had been awaiting extradition in Barcelona in jail. Officers investigating the circumstances of his death says that he was 75 at the time. So there you go. Interesting things going on. So I don't know what we're going to talk about here, because here's the fun part. I told you that I don't know if you looked at the titling this morning, but we're talking about what frustrates you. So let's talk about that. And this is where, you get to play a big role into this. So let's go into it.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So I was kind of told before I sat back and was doing this, and we were coming up with the episode, I was told, be careful on some of the wording because of what frustrates me. And it's interesting on how it works, because I would like to know on what end of the spectrum you're on as well. But I take a look at this as we start talking, and what is your biggest frustration when it comes to your current employment? If you're a business owner, what is your current frustration with your solopreneurship or the business that you own? And I ask this because it becomes one of those very interesting questions. Because as you know, part of what we do day in and day out is really marketing and interaction with people. I mean, think about this for a moment. I always say that part of safety has to deal with marketing, because you're marketing not a service, but an idea. Because it has to start off as an idea. Let's just be real. So when you're taking a look at this and you're going around and doing this, what is the most frustrating part about it? Originally, I wanted to title this thing Asshole. Yeah, I did say asshole. Here's the thing. The thing that drives me the most crazy about this is going around asking questions, never to take the advice that you're giving them. Do you understand what I mean there? They'll ask you everything possible, everything known to man about something. And then in return, when you give them everything, they will do polar opposite of what you have told them. An asshole is basically a person who asks for your opinion and advice, yet never uses the advice and does opposite of what you said to do. It's really frustrating from time to time. Assholes sometimes ask questions for the sake of asking questions and making conversation, which I understand that to an extent. They zone out and you supply an answer, and then you just go over and over and over, and they always end up doing their own thing. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm always big into getting suggestions and all this kind of stuff. But if you're kind of coming back over and over again, asking the same thing over and over, about how do I do this, how do I do that, how do I do the other, and then all of a sudden it comes about and this is what's happening, well, it becomes another issue. Now, I will tell you, I have realized more and more that the way that you get knowledge is by asking questions, so don't take it the wrong way. I think that's something that should drive forward. But holy shit, man, when you go crazy there and start asking all kinds of questions is one of those things that, what is the purpose behind it? Is it just to have the conversation? Now, popping into the box, we have getting paid 4 months after completing a job. Well, I mean, you kind of determine on what you do with that. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. When you interact with organizations, when you're starting to set up the services, because normally they're coming after you, not you going after them, you can tell them what that modifier is going to be in regards of when you want to get paid. So that's my thing. That's my gimmick. Because here's the thing: if you kind of get put onto the back burner and something goes wrong, I know there's a pretty large electric company that all the time files for bankruptcy and reconfigures what they owe people and then goes, peace out. That's a whole other conversation. Here's another one. Asshole is the opposite of a tell-hole. Someone who tells you something unsolicited that is usually wrong. Do you run into a lot of tell-holes? I'm just curious. I mean, I'm curious about that one. But here's the thing. And I'm not saying, hey, don't go around asking questions, but it is frustrating going through this career path that you have chosen and I have chosen in regards of going through the whole motion. There are things about work that, of course, are going to frustrate you regardless. It's kind of going into a meeting and having all kinds of ideas and nobody wanting to take a listen, especially when you're an employee-employer circumstance. Like a good friend of mine told me many, many, many years ago, you can't be a prophet in your own land. And sometimes it's extremely difficult for that. So pop it in over here. Let's see. Sometimes I ask people how to handle situations just because I know that they will give me the wrong information. And then I do opposite. I mean, I get it. I mean, I really get it. But also at the same time, too, what are the other things that you see that are frustrating? What are the other things that you see that come across that make no sense in the circumstance of the stuff that you do? Of course, you can always have the pay issue, especially when you're doing your own business thing. You can always have the issues of how some of the interaction with management goes. You can always have some of the issues of maybe it's the timeliness of X inside of the work scenario. Now, let's kind of go a little bit more down the range here. When you start looking at the things that frustrate you about your job and the things that interact with your job, do you ever get the look? And let me explain what I mean here. All of a sudden, you're in a meeting and you get the phone call and it rings and you don't answer it. And then they immediately call you right afterwards. So you have that little code that, hey, if they call immediately right after, this means I had to take it. And you excuse yourself. And then when you come back or you're about to leave the meeting, say, give me just 1 moment, I had to take this. You get the look. Now, if you've never gotten the look at work, have you ever gotten the look at home? Like, what the hell is your phone keep on ringing for? And this could be anyone. This could be your spouse. This could be your kids. This could be anything. But you know what I'm talking about with the look. And I try to give people the most attention possible when I'm sitting in a meeting with them. I try to avoid my phone and all that kind of fun stuff. So I don't have it set to the 2 code of the phone call. People that know my code, I have told them how many phone calls in a row it will take for me to answer it. But then again, I've had some people that kind of go a little cray-cray when they call. They'll do the call, text, email, like immediately, and thinking that that's going to make it happen quicker. And sometimes I'm just not available, that I can't answer the phone, period, regardless of what's going on. But that's the thing. I look at this, that our business becomes so frustrating with the stuff, And I think it's interesting when you get a hold of an older safety person, and let me explain what I mean here. Let me rephrase that a little bit. Someone who knew about safety but has moved on to a different career path, but knew that this was the thing when they were in safety at whatever age that was. And now they still believe that that has changed, even though there might be scenario 55 since they left it. But they still decide to tell you that this is the way that it was and it should be, and that they know that the mandate hasn't changed. And they like to pull out information that they stored from several thousands of years ago. Okay, maybe not several thousands, but several years back, and try to still use it as it's today's info, not wanting to update it. Those things I find frustrating. And why am I talking about this today? Why am I talking about this more and more? What I have noticed as of recent, as more jobs become available and other states start opening up more and more, a lot of people are leaving their jobs to go elsewhere. Now, don't get me wrong. It is always better, or it's always a good idea to improve yourself. But also, as an employer, you might need to look at certain things to try to retain the talent that you have. And I'm not saying every time you don't like something, jump up and leave, even though that seems to be kind of the popular thing as of late.
Duh.
But what do you look at? How do you rectify this? And don't get me wrong, there is money to be made out there currently, even as an employee-employer scenario. So think about retention, especially if you're inside of the organization. And don't get me wrong, we're not off the hook either. Let me explain. Just because we normally have to know a lot of things related to what's going on inside of the organization, there's still a lot of people out there that know a hell of a lot better than we do when it comes to doing the work. We just need to be able to assist them on how to do it with a safeguard around it. We can say safer to an extent, but I don't even know if that's the thing. With a safeguard around what they're doing. We need to have a better understanding of what they're doing. But believe me, they're the subject matter experts. We are just trying to safeguard what they're doing. So don't worry about it. You're not off the hook, and I'm not off the hook on that one. But I look at it all the time and say the exact same thing. What the hell do I know? Just a guy behind a microphone.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm going to do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
So I interrupt this very important show to discuss this important matter with you. And here's what I want to share. You know that for years I have been telling you on this show that I don't sleep too great. Well, over the last few months, I've actually acquired a Helix sleep mattress. And it has changed the way that I sleep entirely. Listen, I have to tell you, for years, I have struggled day in and day out, or night in and night out, on how I sleep. But ever since I went to Helix Sleep and took the sleep quiz, it has changed my way of sleeping. All you need to do to be able to encounter this luxury in your home, just go to helixsleep.com/safety. That's helixsleep.com/safety. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you with a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. Helix Sleep is offering up to $200 off of all orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/safety. That's helixsleep.com/safety for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows.
It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. It's too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. It's too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. It's too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Y'all just talk, don't live it. And just took that route, that seen it. And I'm so outspoken like Reason. Jimmy Neutron, boy, Young G's. And I'm a self-made man out of Sweden. And it's still off top, I'm tweaking. But I still gotta fight my demons. I ain't no good, I'm evil. I ain't been clean since Eden. It's a war going on.
Oh, there you go. 40 minutes past the top of the hour.
That's why I gotta watch my demeanor. You know they locking up black.
Eyes Closed. This is by Norman Sand.
But the mileage on the meter of the people.
This song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes.
They smoke my partner like reefer.
So thanks to Norman Sand for allowing us to play this one.
It's too easy.
Because it's too easy.
Too easy.
And that one's called Eyes Closed, like I said. Anyways, let's get back into it. A little bit more here, a little bit more, a little bit further now. Anyway, so there you go. So do you got anything cool going on this lovely Thursday? Anything fun planned or anything along those lines? If not, I got something for you. Stick here. No, seriously. I don't know. What do you got going on? Anything exciting? I'm always kind of looking in to take some dives on what other people got going on. I always find it slightly interesting. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things about what are going on inside of the world. So here you go. A new novel coronavirus. Are you ready for another pandemic? Researchers at the Northwestern University of Feinberg School of Medicine aren't either, but they are standing prepared. Why? They say that there are 7-year pattern of pandemic is emerging, dating back to 2004, which means that we could see another coronavirus outbreak in 2028. Yay! Let's see. Fortunately, along with the scary thoughts, they've discovered a new target to fight against COVID-19 and the future of coronaviruses. Their study revealed that a key pocket in the protein which helps viruses to function and infect people, developing drugs which fits into this pocket can keep future coronavirus strains from turning deadly. In a media release, professor of microbiology and immunology, Carla Satchel, says that if somebody around you gets coronavirus, you should run to the drugstore and get your medicine and take it for 3 to 4 days. If you were sick, you wouldn't get sick. These drugs could also be effective against the virus that causes common cold. Well, that's a free up some space in the drugstore shelves. And what the heck were these guys doing back in 2014? Why the hell were they talking about this back then? I mean, did we have to find out this way? So the secret battle against coronavirus is a pocket. I knew it. It was in my genes the whole time.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, the stories of those buried in Woodland Cemetery in Des Moines, Iowa are being brought back to life. Dozens of historic graves that have been marked with QR codes that are linked to short videos, which gives the details of the lives and the cities of the earlier residents. 71 videos of each lasting about 30 seconds long have been put together by Kristen Bartley, who compiled the information from local historians as well as the descendants of some of the buried at the Woodlands. The project just doesn't cover well-known figures, but also the lives of remained in the dark ones for decades as well, or even centuries. Among those whose stories have been brought back to life with the QR code project are Preston Jackson, a black man from Kentucky who served in the Mexican-American War and the Civil War. George Hannawalt, a doctor who was treated some hundreds of injured people in the Great Train Wreck of 1877. The kind of video that people are dying to be a part of. And even though those videos are short, they're good. They have a good plot. They have a good plot, if you get what I'm saying. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things. Because sometimes I just kind of wonder about what we talk about. Anyways, let's talk about, did you know acids in the bird's poop can etch your car clear coat. Not a joke here. And depending on how you remove the stain, it can discolor the paint. Birds have high fiber diets, which means that their dew is full of gritty abrasives like seeds, husky, or even sand. So if you try to vigorously scrub it off of your car, you can damage the paint. Instead of scrubbing the cover, cover it with a sponge soaked with soapy water for several minutes, and then when you wipe it, the same sponge will be using like a light stroke. Bird poop will be baked in by the summer sun, and if you need to, soak it for longer. Can someone tell me how we even got this over here? Really, I don't even know what the hell's going on sometimes. I'm so confused.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about some whack facts real quick, because apparently that's the next thing that we need to go into. Anyways, it is 45 after the hour. Frogs sometimes eat even fireflies that they themselves glow a little bit later on. So there you go. The revenue generated from gambling is more than the revenue from movies, cruise ships, recorded music, theme parks, and spectator sports combined. Think about that real quick. The revenue generated from gambling is more than movies, cruise ships, recorded music, theme parks, and spectator sports combined. And I'm not talking for 2020. I'm talking in general. Just in case. You should share your birthday with at least 9 million other people in the world. Did you know that? I wonder how they narrow it down to the time. Right-handed people tend to scratch with their left hand and vice versa. Think about that for a moment. Virginia insects farther west than West Virginia. Did you know that? And then the average person will grow 6.5 feet or 2 meters of nose hair in their lifetime. Please, somebody help the madness. What the hell's going on with that one? So anyways, let's continue to talk about some other things going on inside of the world. Let's take a look real quick. Democrats would like have you believe that the filibuster is undemocratic and that it needs to go, but there is some context. During President Trump 4 years in office, the Senate GOP ended the debate of judicial nominee and to break the filibuster 314 times, according to the New York Post. Further, to put into perspective, even though the other presidents in the history of the United States have faced combined 244 of those roles, call voters for over the filibusters. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are talking about it. Anyways, let's get out of the swamp because I don't like talking about that stuff. So here we go. To the border we go. Vice President Kamala Harris will visit El Paso, Texas with Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas on Friday. It's been 91 days since she has put in charge of the border security management, and this visit will mark her first to the border, which was already discussed by the people at Feature Story News. Also, let's talk about this. No winner for Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing. Friday's drawing will be for $50 million jackpot or a $34.9 million cash payout. So there you go. Let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world. Did you hear about this? I'm just going to mention it for the sake of mentioning it because he had such an impact on music. But Elton John has announced the final dates of his farewell tour. Performances will be held in Frankfurt, Germany on May the 27th of 2022. Then several other stops throughout Europe, including Liverpool and Paris. John's North American performances will kick off on July 15th of 2022 in Philadelphia. And in 2023, he will play in New Zealand and Australia before wrapping up the tour, which began back in 2018. I'm pretty sure he didn't think that we were going to be closed down during this time frame, but something to think about. So there you go. So if you want to take a last chance to get to see him in person, there you go. So let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. back in 1975. A wind gust brings down Eastern Airlines flight en route to John F. Kennedy Airport in New York City. A wind shear lifted the plane and then violently pushed it towards the ground. On its collision course, it took down several rows of runaway light and shattered the left wing. Only 9 on board survived, 7 passengers and 2 flight attendants. So there you go. That was back in 1975. Do you remember this? I'm sure that you probably do if you've seen it. But back in 2005 on this date, Tom Cruise is interrogated by Matt Lauer on the Today Show following Cruise's negative comments about actress Brooke Shields using antidepressants to combat postpartum depression. The pair grew increasingly testy with each other throughout the interview. This just came weeks after his couch jumping incident on Oprah, making a severe downward spiral during which he fell out of grace with America. Wasn't he like all excited back then because he was married to Katie Holmes or was going out with Katie Holmes? That's why he jumped on the couch. I mean, I don't know. Should I jump on my chair because I'm in love and all that kind of stuff? Is that going to throw you off if I do that? I mean, I don't get it. But everybody has to do their own thing. Anyways, let's talk about some birthdays for today. Coy Stewart turns 23. Elijah Johnson, 23. Harris Dickinson, 25. Six Black, 29. Jordan Davis, 29. A lot of birthdays, it looks like. Lionel Messi, 34. Snow That Product, 34. JJ Redick, 37. George Reagan, 40. Vanessa Ray, 40. Minka Kelly. Oh, yes, Minka Kelly, 41. Mindy Kaling, 42. And Robert Downey Sr., yeah, the director, turns 85 today. So there you go. Some stuff to think about for sure. If you're looking for some days of the year to celebrate, let's talk about a couple of those. It's National Bomb Pop Day, whatever that is. What the hell is National Bomb Pop Day? National Handshake Day. It's so good it's on here twice. National Swim a Lap Day. And International Fairy Day. So there you go. That's all on today, the 24th of June. Okay, let's talk about some other things real quick. A naked Florida woman completely trashed a Outback Steakout and then threw wine bottles at the cops before being arrested. She was charged with criminal damage, unlawful conduct, and resisting arrest, but may plead guilty to a lesser charge of just being a redneck. The Olympics this year are going to be will feature both surfing and karate. Unfortunately, not at the same time. I just read that a study that once claimed that Americans prefer having Wi-Fi over having sex, eating chocolate, or consuming alcohol. Duh. Wi-Fi, you can go on the internet and order all three. Just throwing that out there. It's on here. That's why I'm sharing it.
Duh.
Let's continue. Jason Mraz turned 44 today. His friends celebrated by singing happy birthday to John Mayer. Fact of the day, 80% of people keep telling their feelings to themselves because they believe it's hard for others to understand their pain. Their other 20% are, already know this because it is on Facebook. Anyway, some stuff to think about. Let's see what else we can do to try to make your life easy this morning.
Nobody's life's easy, and sometimes life presents us with mountains that seem too high to climb. But that's when I dig in. When push comes to shove, it comes down to your will to win. I'm a trial lawyer, and a trial's a heavyweight championship fight. Figer Law won't back down, we won't give up, and we never give in. Ever.
Okay, you can go to figerlaw.com for more information there, or you can call 1-800-A-WINNER. That's 1-800-A-WINNER if you're in need of a lawyer. So there you go. Anyways, let me tell you about a couple of different things real quick, because we have not spoken about it today, so let's do this. Where do I want to go? Nope, not that one. Why is that still even there? That should be trash right now. That's trash. Let's trash that. Let's do this one, because this is going to be... Yeah, there you go. Let's talk about our class with Todd Conklin that's going on safetyfm.io. You can join Todd's newest class, Bouncing Forward. If you want to find out more information, you can go to safetyfm.io for some more info on what's going on with this particular class. It is quite a great, marvelous class about how bouncing forward from this. Like I said, you can go to safetyfm.io for some more information about it. That is for sure. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important thing that I'm going to tell you throughout the whole day, regardless of whenever you hear me speaking. Here's what you're going to get. This is going to be it. If you are struggling with this, let's talk about it. Know that you're not alone. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local community whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. Listen, you can go to this particular website, which is afsp.org. This is for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. They will be able to help you in regards of finding local resources or even a local chapter, tell you real stories that are going on with the community, or even be able to assist you. Listen, I will tell you, if you're not struggling with this, you might know someone who is. And I will ask you to gain as much knowledge as you can about this information because it's that important. To be able to share with others this thing that has been brought with so much shame on it and so on, where people need to talk about this all the time. Anyways, for more information, you go to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention at afsp.org or call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255 or text the word TALK to 741-741. That's the word TALK to 741-741. So, that's it. I mean, that's pretty much it. That is so important. I mean, I don't ever want it to go unaccounted for on how important that information is. Think about it for a minute as we do talk about it. Anyways, you're probably starting to see more and more people posting once again that they are going to be speaking in September at a conference. So we got our little comment section for you to be able to use. I am not speaking at any conference or expo. I don't want you to feel left out. So you can download this on our website or from our website at safetyfm.com/I am not. Or you can just use the little QR code if you're watching the streamer, and that will make that readily available for you, where you can be part of their crew of what's going on. I'll leave the little QR code up there for the next few minutes or so if you want to kind of take a look and do whatever you do. Anyways, if you need a random joke for the day, try this one. I child-proofed my house, but they still got in. If you need a phone starter for the day, try this one. What embarrassing song do you like to sing out loud when no one else is around? And let's hear it. Come on. What song is it? Don't be shy. Nobody else is going to know. Anyways, let's continue. One more here. If you need something for the water cooler, try this one. Question. Let me rephrase that question. 23% of women say that they would actually pay their partner to do this. What is it? Give them a foot massage. Yeah, think about the whole scene in Pulp Fiction when you hear foot massage. So there you go. There's that. And then that's it. So there you go. You've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on Safety FM. I'm moving up to the radiobig.fm for the next couple hours. If you want to come out and hang out, take a listen to what the hell we have going on. If you want to stick around here on safetyfm.com, you're more than welcome on doing that. They'll talk about all kinds of things related to safety, if you're so inclined to do so. If I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. It's not about what you look at. It's not about what you look that matters. It's about what you see. It's not about what you look at that matters. It's about what you see. Think about that. Give it some serious thought. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what we have going on right here. Thank you for always being the best part of Radio Big and Safety FM, and that is the listener. Without you, we can't do what we do here, that's for sure. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
Duh.
Here is the news.
Wrong button.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.